Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. The season is over. Transfers begin. It's going to be absolutely intense and exciting right at Arsenal because Mikel Arteta wants his signings very, very early in the transfer window. He wants to build a season that actually toppers 90 points. That's according to ESPN's James Ollie and of course Miguel Delaney as well. They're all confirming that Mikel Arteta wants signings to be made early in the transfer window. So we might see a couple of signings in June and we might see a couple of signings in July as well because Mikel wants his signings to come in early before preseason so that we can prepare for a massive season. So in this video, let's dive into the new bid that has been made by Arsenal to Fenerbahce to sign their left back Fadi Kadioglu. We are also going to be talking about why Mikel Arteta wants his signings quickly and why could that be a difference maker for Arsenal in the upcoming season. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. This is the home of transfers when it comes to Arsenal content. You all know that. So in this season, we are not going to disappoint. I'm going to give you the latest stories, the latest reactions, the latest big stories around this football club. Let's get into it. Now, let's start off with the breaking story, which has actually come out in the last few seconds. Arsenal and Bayer Leverkusen have both made offers for Fenerbahce fullback Fadi Kadioglu. Arsenal's offer, which is around 20 million euros, has been deemed too low, and there is a possibility that Arsenal will want to raise that offer up to 25 million euros. The same story has been confirmed by another source, from Turkey, confirming that Fenerbahce has received an official offer from Arsenal and Bayer Leverkusen for the left back Fadi Kadioglu, who is expected to leave the team this summer. Arsenal, in particular, are insisting on completing the deal. First, and of course, the first offer that was made by Arsenal was worth around 20 million euros, which was rejected. Arsenal expected to make a new offer where they will add 5 million in add-ons to see if the deal could actually be done in that region. Now, left back or a new centre back as well is one position that we have had a lot when it comes to the media. Arsenal want to address something, at left back. Arsenal want to address something in defense. And I've always been very skeptical about who comes in. But when you look at Fadi Kadioglu and his versatility, we're going to talk about him as a player because he's played a couple of minutes across the shop. He's played in midfield, he's played on the flanks as a defender, obviously, and then he's played as a winger. I think that versatility places him in a very high position and a position of priority as compared to the likes of João Hatto, for me, who is one of the best young centre-backs in the world right now. He's just 18 and he is absolutely freaking crazy. Then you have the likes of Ousmane Diamonde, who I still think he will make a Premier League move, although it might not be to Arsenal. But I won't be surprised to see a Crystal Palace go in for an Ousmane Diamonde if the price comes down, or even if he might go to Chelsea if Chelsea decide to sign Ruben Amorim as their manager. So the offers are not frightening. 20 million euros, that is not frightening. This is a story that I was actually informed about a week ago. Because a week ago, I received information that Fadi Kadioglu was one of the players that Arsenal had lined up on their radar. I also read somewhere that Arsenal had an agreement on the player's side. Arsenal are very confident that we could sign Fadi Kadioglu because the player was interested in playing for us, and it was all about agreeing a price with Fenerbahce, which we are trying to do at the moment. And I still tell you, when a club agrees to go and place an offer, when a club is intent on placing an offer with with another club for a player, it means they know the intentions of the player. The player would love to join us, and it is all green. It doesn't make any sense for Arsenal to place a 20 million euro offer on the table for Fenerbahce if the player doesn't want to play for us. So there is an agreement on player's side. At least we know there is a consensus that the player would love to play for us, or at least there is a bit of admiration from Fadi Kadioglu and his camp. So player side, I think that is okay. In terms of personal terms, I don't think this is a deal that where a player is going to ask for in excess of 100,000 or 120,000. And we know that Arsenal, in terms of wages, these days we are very cautious, but we are also very generous in what we offer in terms of wages. So I won't be surprised if, in the end, Fadi Kadioglu ends up earning around 100,000 at Arsenal, around 95,000 at Arsenal, which shouldn't be a problem and which won't be a problem for us as a club. So factoring into all that, right? Factoring in all that and thinking about all that, I think this is a legit story and this is a legit move. Now, Mikel Arteta, according to James Ollie and Miguel Denale, Mikel Arteta wants to make 90 points next season and he wants to continue to strengthen his team in order to do that. He wants to sign his players a little bit early in this transfer window before we break up for pre-season. Of course, there is the Euros in there, which is going to make the market difficult. So I'm thinking Arsenal could get one player before the Euros and maybe two players after the Euros or during that time when the Euros are going to be going on. If the players that we are interested in are going to be playing in the Euros, then you might find that Arsenal have to wait a little bit until the Euros are done. If the players that we want, or some of them, are not playing in the Euros, then the deal should be a little bit much easier. But the likes of Ben Sisco, those ones are going to be playing in the Euros, and if the deal is not done prior, then we will have to wait a little bit longer. So, Fadi Kadioglu, left back. Where do we begin with this? First and foremost, is left back a priority at Arsenal? I've never believed that left back is a priority at Arsenal. I don't think left back is a priority at Arsenal. And Fabrizio says that Arsenal's top priority in terms of defense has been Jorel Hato. They love his profile. He's just signed a new deal until 2028, but they love his profile. Mikel Arteta is a big fan, and Edu is a big fan. And although he's just signed a new deal, Arsenal are still intent on signing Jorel Hato. So when we think about Hato, when we think about a centre back who could potentially be converted into right back or left back, you're potentially thinking Julen Timber. It gives you the vibes of a Julen Timber signing last summer. And I think what Arsenal are looking at in the market, or what we should be looking at, is either someone who is going to deputize Ben White, or someone who's going to deputize, Julen Timber. I have a feeling, it's a strange feeling, but it is still a very good feeling, that Alexander Zinchenko will leave Arsenal. If offers arrive, he will leave Arsenal this summer, but I still think he will be there for 1 year and then he will move on next summer. So if Alexander Zinchenko there leaves Arsenal, I don't think Jakub Kiwior has given us any kind of confidence as one of those players you can actually bank on. You cannot find you cannot find enough evidence for an Arsenal fan, or as an Arsenal fan, for us to go out there and say Kiwior can play for you 30 games at left back if Julen Timber is not there, or if Alexander Zinchenko is not there, right? So I think with Kiwior, he's one of those players that are going to be at Arsenal until some time, and then he will eventually move on. So I think Mikel is looking for someone who is a little bit more solid and more permanent. Now, I think I was reading The Athletic last week, and they were saying that Julen Timber has come in as a player who was viewed as a right back stroke centre back, because that is where his main strength is. Centre back stroke right back. However, during preseason last summer, Mikel Arteta tried him at left back. He loved what he saw, and therefore he's going to be playing at left back for a big part of his time. He's going to be playing at left back, majorly for Arsenal. So if left back is Julen Timber, right back is Ben White, and centre back is Saliba and Gabriel, what Arsenal are looking for is someone different, someone who is different in terms of profile. So when you look at Fadi Kadioglu and you look at what he does, he's played as a midfielder. And we know that Mikel Arteta loves fullbacks who can invert into midfield, right? Then you also look at what he can do in terms of a winger. I think that is very, very important for us as a team. I think we are short in terms of wingers. But also, he is very different in profile. He is not your Julen Timber. Timber and Ben White are centre backs who have turned into fullbacks or wing backs. Fadi Kadioglu is a natural wing back. We know that Arsenal have been interested in Jeremy Frimpong. We know that Arsenal have been interested in players that have got the natural attacking instinct on them. Players that can play along the line. Players that can give you something different. And I also don't think that Mikel Arteta is looking to do what he's doing on the right-hand side exactly the same as what he's going to do on the left hand side. So you look at our left hand side this season, it has been absolutely boring. And we concentrate our attacks right on the right hand side. So what I think is we might see the left hand side of an Arsenal that is explosive, the left hand side of an Arsenal that is very direct, and the left hand side of an Arsenal that is, a little bit, I would say, counter attacking as compared to the right hand side. So look at Martinelli. You look at if Fadi Kadioglu comes in, and then you think about maybe your Declan Rice. Those are players that love to dribble. Those are players that love to get on the ball and kind of run and kind of, drive. So maybe he's building the left-hand side. But what you need to know about Fadi Kadioglu, very versatile young Turkish guy, only 24 years of age. He's played a couple of minutes for Fenerbahce, and he is really well proven. Another thing is he's very versatile. I've talked about that. Midfield, right wing, left back. So if Arsenal are looking at versatility, I mean, when have we signed a player and we have not concentrated on how versatile that player is, right? Ben White, he's playing at right back, he's a centre back. Julian Timber is playing at left back, he's a centre back. Who else? I mean, Odegaard can literally play anywhere in that midfield. The same as, all these, like the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. So, Fadi Kadioglu, is it a deal that can happen? I think with the money that is, quoted, I think it's a deal Arsenal can really, really do. I think what Mikel wants to do is to really make the defense a little bit more solid, make it more attractive, make it more, more resilient and more, stronger, but don't spend a lot of money on it. I would definitely take him for 25 million euros. Like, that is not a lot of money. What I'm afraid of and what I don't like or I don't want is Arsenal spending a lot of money on players like Fadi Kadioglu or on positions where I think we can do much better, and then we don't sign a striker, or we don't sign a midfielder, or we don't sign a winger. I don't want that. So if I'm hearing that Mikel Arteta is interested in this boy and he's going to cost around 25 million euros, go get him. I mean, 24 years of age, 25 million euros, good resale value. You're going to give him a new contract. His value is going to go up. He's going to play for a potential side that could win the Premier League and that could raise his value. I'm not against this deal. I'm really not against this deal. I've not seen him play for 90 minutes. That is a job I'm going to task myself with. But eventually, I think it's not a bad deal. You look at Leverkusen. Leverkusen know that they're going to be losing either of Jeremy Frimpong and the boy that has been playing on their left wing, Grimaldo. I think it's called Grimaldo, Alex Grimaldo or something like that. So if they're going to lose any of them or both of them, and they're looking to replace them with Fadi Kadioglu, you know how good this guy is. 25 million euros. If Fenerbahce are going to settle for that, I think it is not an overstretch, right? I think it's not an overstretch. Now, both ESPN and The Independent are saying that Mikel Arteta would love to make his signings quick and early, and we'll discuss this in a very, very lengthy video. But I think doing business in nice and early is something that Arsenal benefited from for the last 3 years. Look at the Declan Rice signing. And look at Julian Timber as well, and Kai Havertz, and them getting preseason, a good preseason with the team, and how that has actually elevated them and helped them into sinking into the team. It has been remarkable. The same happened with Alexander Zinchenko. The same happened with Gabriel Jesus, and the same happened with was it Ben White, right? When you sign players, a little bit early, it helps you to try out a few combinations, right? And I don't want to rage, and I promise this, I will not rage at any game where Arsenal don't win in in preseason. Why? Because it's about testing combinations. It's about learning things. It's something that I've learned from Mikel Arteta as time has gone on. That in preseason, it's not about hitting 5 and 6-0 and 7-0 and keeping fitness. It's about allowing your players to try positions where they feel comfortable and positions where they feel uncomfortable. So I would love to see, I don't know, I mean, we're going to talk about transfer priorities. We're going to talk about transfers. But what I would love to see is Arsenal go out there in the summer transfer window and make signings quick and early, and let these players focus into get fit into the system, and do things a little bit quicker. See you right in the next one. Hidala Bachchan season.